I'm Allie.
And I'm Becky.
We are registered dietitians that use food as medicine and functional approaches for whole body health.
In today's video, we will be covering what adaptogens are, as well as making a recipe for Walnut Maca Caramels from the Anti-Anxiety Diet Cookbook. So let's get into this first and unpack a little bit, Allie. I think adaptogens have become very, very popular. We see them in like coffees and teas and chocolates and pills and potions and powders. But what exactly are they and what do they do for our body?
Sure. So adaptogens are herbs that help us to adapt to the physiological influence of stress. Essentially, they maintain homeostasis or balance in the body during a time of high stress impact. And we've talked to you in prior videos, I'll link below, on the influence of stress on the metabolism and your sexual hormones, also negatively influencing your thyroid. So it's important that we harness stress and make our body resilient. Adaptogens can actually preserve the function of our adrenal glands, which can help them to put out a more favorable balanced output of cortisol and the other neurotransmitters made by our adrenal glands. And adaptogens can aid in combating stress-induced fatigue, as well as enhancing cognitive function and performance.
Yes, I like to think of them as preventing that dreaded burnout from stress.
Totally, and helping us to, like I said, upregulate.
Exactly.
One of my favorite words.
Yes. So we love adaptogens so much that we actually have a formula in our line called Adaptogen Boost. Let's unpack some of the compounds in there and some of the research behind them.
Yes, and it's important to note when you're using any of those, like you said, pills, potions, powders, and all of the in-between. When you're selecting something with adaptogens and you're putting your money on the line, you want to check the standardization of the extract of herbal ingredients. There should always be the noted standardization on a bottle. You're also going to want to ensure that the milligrams that you are getting are of an effective, potent dosage that are actually going to yield clinical outcomes. And we make sure we provide that for you in our Adaptogen Boost. So the first featured ingredient in here is Cordyceps. And Cordyceps has been shown in literature to have antidepressive effects. This is really important because when we're combating stress, we can often get depleted. We burn through serotonin and dopamine as a stress response, and this can really impact the mood unfavorably. So Cordyceps have been shown to have antidepressant effects, mood stabilizing effects, and support on ADHD, promoting concentration and focus, as well as academic performance.
And then Rhodiola, which is also featured in the Adaptogen Boost, has been seen to upregulate dopamine signaling, serotonin, and norepinephrine, so providing a little boost for your neurotransmitters that do respond in stressful situations. And it's also been seen in over 11 randomly controlled trials to improve mental health, cognitive performance, and even physical performance.
And the final ingredient in Adaptogen Boost is Panax Ginseng. This is going to play a role on enhancing our immune system. Often when we're stressed out and burned out, our immune system can get depleted, and that's when we're susceptible to cold, virus, things like the flu. So we get that immune enhancement. Panax Ginseng also has been shown to increase energy levels, and it can influence the way that we get oxygenation in the brain, so it can help with clarity and cognitive health.
Yes, so a fabulous supplement to take at 1 to 2 daily and then increase during times of increased stress demand or burnout.
Totally. So let's put together one of my favorite recipes from the Anti-Anxiety Diet Cookbook, the Walnut Maca Caramels, featuring another adaptogenic ingredient.
Yes. So maca is an adaptogen that you may have heard of as a supporter of the pituitary gland, helps to support thyroid function as well as our progesterone production, and can be really helpful with libido, which oftentimes libido really tanks during times of increased stress.
Yeah, stress is not sexy.
No.
In fact, when cortisol levels are elevated from the adrenal glands in a stress response, we can see men getting higher amounts of estrogen, so their testosterone actually gets depleted. They can deal with erectile dysfunction, lower libido, and increased belly fat. And in women, that cortisol actually steals from progesterone, and this can influence infertility, miscarriage, and also influence sexual hormone balance. impacting their cycle length and their mood.
Totally. So what are you putting in the food processor, Allie?
Let's get 1.5 cups of walnuts. So walnuts are going to provide us omega-3 fatty acids. These are great to reduce inflammation. And we also know that the walnuts are a great source of magnesium, and magnesium is like the ultimate chill pill. So this is going to already start to set the tone. We're going to set the food processor. We're using our S blade here. So that's just this simple blade, the more kind of standard blade that you would use in your food processor. And I'm going to also add in a full teaspoon of mineral salt. So I'm going to put that in here. So salt is really important. In fact, if you're dealing with adrenal fatigue, beyond cortisol, the adrenal glands make DHEA, which plays a role with your muscle mass, your estrogen and testosterone, so producing those hormones. And the adrenals also make aldosterone, and this plays a role with your sodium retention. So for individuals that have adrenal insufficiency or adrenal burnout, and they're dealing with that fatigue, they often find themselves having increased cravings for salt. In fact, when you're eating a whole foods diet, we often recommend getting ample salt so that you can prevent hyponatremia or low sodium status. About 2 teaspoons a day is a recommendation if you're eating a whole foods diet to ensure you're meeting your needs, and a mineral salt is a great choice. So I'm gonna run the food processor until I get a fine line of nut butter. I'm gonna let that go here. And you'll kind of watch along the side here of the food processor. See as it's gathering at the bottom there, making a thin line of nut butter. That right there is about perfect texture. All right, I'm gonna take off the lid and we'll add the remaining ingredients. So now that that's all mixed up, I'm using fresh vanilla bean. This is from Wild Foods. They're one of my Naturally Nourished podcast sponsors. And I love using the actual dried organic wild vanilla because this does not have any of the alcohol or any of the preservatives that you would see, or especially the like vanilla flavor, which isn't even from true vanilla bean. And vanilla can actually be somewhat of a nerving and a calming influence. So you could use 1 teaspoon of organic vanilla extract or a 1/4 teaspoon of ground dried vanilla bean.
And then let's throw in our maca. So this is a whopping 2 tablespoons, which is a pretty potent, hefty dose of maca.
Yes, and as Becky said, it's a Peruvian root. So it's a tuber. It's a root vegetable that grows in Peru.
And usually we'll recommend about a teaspoon of maca, maybe 5 to 7 days a week, like incorporating it into a smoothie or a coffee. But these caramels are a great way to get it in on a daily basis as well, if you're not digging the flavor so much.
And super palatable and enjoyable.
Yes.
All right, so that's mixed in. Now we're going to add in the dates. So this recipe is flexible based on if you are doing a ketogenic diet or just a low glycemic diet. We've had past videos, which we'll link below, on why I hate non-caloric sweeteners. And in our real food keto diet, we only use whole real foods. So all of the recipes, 80+ recipes in my anti-anxiety diet cookbook, are gut-supporting, anti-inflammatory, keto-friendly, but they use all whole foods. So we use things like chopped dates, raw unfiltered honey, robust maple, berries, and even a little bit of banana to sweeten recipes instead of things like monk fruit, erythritol, and other processed non-caloric sweeteners.
And these are the deglet dates, which are a little bit smaller in size than the medjool dates that you might find. So we're using probably about 5 to 6 chopped, but you can definitely adjust per taste. And if your dates are a little bit larger, obviously you need to use a little less.
Yes, so for the medjool, you might use three or so, yeah. All right. And the cool thing about this is you can adjust to taste. So you can always add an extra date if it's not sweet enough for your palate. So because my recipe in the book uses that vanilla extract, I'm adding just a teaspoon of water for moisture because I use that dried vanilla bean powder. So I'm gonna add in that teaspoon and then it should be just the perfect texture. All right, you can see it's kind of all forming a big ball. That's what you're looking for. Perfect, you don't wanna overmix. So as it kind of gathers into that ball on your S-blade, you know you're ready to roll them out. And we're going to use, this is a great texture here. We're going to use a scooper, and then we're going to roll these into other fun flavor enhancers. So we have some ground cinnamon, which is great for blood sugar control. We have some lavender to support as a nerving or a calming agent. And then we have some chopped up cacao nibs. This is what chocolate is made out of. And this is going to be a great antioxidant boost.
And a source of magnesium, too.
Totally. Yeah. More chill. I'm all about that, girl. So this recipe makes 12 large balls or 24 small balls. And you can just use a tablespoon or a scooper like this, and like Becky's doing, you just kind of pat with your hands and roll. And they're totally fine just as they are. They do not have to be topped, but we just thought it'd be a little fun to show you how you can further boost that food as medicine.
They look like little truffles.
Yeah.
So cute.
So we hope you enjoyed today's video. If you love what we're putting out there, make sure that you subscribe to the Naturally Nourished YouTube channel. Every Thursday, we release a new video for you guys. And make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what you're loving and even suggestions on future content you want to learn more about. If you want to be empowered with food as medicine and find ways to mellow out your stress response, definitely grab a copy of the Anti-Anxiety Diet Cookbook and the Anti-Anxiety Diet, which is my nonfiction book, which talks about how you can reduce inflammation, reset your microbiome, repair your gut lining, restore micronutrient status, rebound those tired adrenal glands, and finally rebalance your neurotransmitters for whole body health. And I'm holding the ball.
I got nothing to say.
You like my sweaty balls?